This Tory government is engaged in a unique and deadly experiment with our health. No other country has done this, which is to try and open up the economy whilst new cases, hospitalisations and deaths from coronavirus are rising rapidly. Even the Secretary of State for Health has now got coronavirus, and this is the time the government wants to drop restrictions and open up the economy. And don't be fooled by the government's false reassurances. The figures tell us that coronavirus is still on the rise, and they've made it clear that they expect hospitalisations and deaths from coronavirus to continue to rise, but they will press ahead with the reopening regardless. The motivating force is a misconceived notion of the so-called needs of the economy, which is just about giving in to the demands of big business. The two are not the same. And we know from experience who will lose out from opening up the economy in this way. We should offer full support for the transport unions, whose members will be put at risk by these dropping of restriction. The teaching unions have a strong case about how pupils and all who work in schools will be at risk. Workers in the NHS are once again made more vulnerable. Black people were hardest hit in the first wave and Asian people hardest hit in the second. Both groups suffered far higher death tolls than the rest of the country. Boris Johnson is telling us he wants to lift restrictions. He's telling us he expects a third wave, but he has no interest in who might be its victims. We should also understand that this policy fits in with the government's entire agenda. This is a government adopting draconian legislation, trampling on our rights. It is authoritarian. This government has launched a fight on ordinary people and the poor. It's caught up in a series of scandals on racism, from its denial of the very existence of racism, for refusing to condemn racist football yobs. And also we've seen its disgraceful treatment of refugees, gypsies, Roma and traveller communities. Remember, this is the government which secretly wants to impose herd immunity policy, but it's also cutting furlough support. It's even encouraging fire and rehire tactics. It has shoved more young people onto the dole, and it's refusing proper support for the self-employed. This is an all-round attack. This government is intent on remaking British society with its attack on working people, the poor, and all those facing discrimination. Public services are being pushed to breaking point, whilst the private sector is being lavished with public money. This government's policies on the pandemic are at the cutting edge of all of its attacks on working people and allow every other attack to take place. We need to attack their policies on COVID on every front. Thank you very much.